Hello and welcome to episode 164 of Daryl Show Your Work. Continuing on with the overall theme of cloud computing. In this episode, I'm going to be showing how to build a virtual machine and restricting port access in Google Cloud, in the Google Cloud platform. All right. So in the previous episodes, I've shown how to do this with AWS. In the previous episodes, I've shown how to do this with Azure. So now it's time to show how to do it within GCP. All right, so to get started, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that the necessary API that needed in order for me to create a virtual instance is indeed enabled. So I'm going to go to APIs and services here on the side, and I'm going to click enabled APIs just to view that. And you may have to excuse me if my machine runs a little slow here since this is a cloud instance and sometimes um, when we're running cloud platforms here on the machine that I'm using, it just runs a little slower than usual. But we'll get there. All right. So these are the list of APIs. So I am looking for the Compute Engine API, which is here. So I'm gonna click on that. All right, so if we look here at the top, if we look at the status, we see that it's enabled. All right, so I'm good to go. So in order to start provisioning the um, the virtual instance here or the virtual machine, um, both terms that you can use interchangeably, I'm going to go over here to Compute Instance in this menu here, and then within a sub menu, I'm going to go to VM Instances. All right, so the next screen that's going to pop up is where I'm going to basically just fill in the specs for the machine that I'm trying to create. All right, so we see there's no current instances that's existent yet, so I'm going to create one here. So by clicking create instance, we could get rid of this. All right, so I am going to rename this instance. Oh shoot. I'm going to name this instance my first GCP VM. All right, and then I'm going to change this region here to closer to me. So you can see here too, it actually gives you the carbon footprint of the regions, all right, that it uses, which is pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to change mine to US East 1. All right, and then as far as machine types, E2 is fine because I want something low cost and day-to-day computing. All right, so we can see as I continue to go, we can see that the cost, the estimate is continuing to build here as I go. All right, and then just looking at anything else that I need to set here as far as machine type. I'm gonna change this from E2 medium. I want to change that to micro version. All right, so I'm gonna say E2 micro right here. All right, so that's just gonna have one CPU core and then 1 gigabyte of RAM. All right, so I'm gonna hit a new. Hold on. Matter of fact, let's go down to one more and let's see. Let's specify the operating system as storage. All right, so this is good. So I'm gonna hit select. All right, and let's create this. All right, looks like uh I didn't say anything before it disappeared, but it looks like that's going to charge me $7.11 a month to maintain this virtual machine if I were to keep it, but I'm not. All right, so we can see that has been successfully provisioned. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to show how we can then restrict port access on this machine, which is the first step to being able to secure it. So I'm gonna hit my first GCP VM. All right, and so I'm gonna scroll down a little bit because I want to get to the network interface. All right, so we can see here with the firewalls, um, HTTP traffic, that's off. All right, so but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking specifically for this. All right, so the network interface that's available right here is NIC 0. So I'm gonna click that. Of course, NIC is short for network interface card. All right, and it's gonna basically, let me see. Okay, so if I go down here, it's going to actually show the firewall rules here. All right, so we can see that we have 4 rules here. These first 2 are basically one is for ICMP, which allows my machine to be pingable, which I don't mind my machine being pingable from internally or from the outside. Then the second one allows my machine to be accessible from the inside network. So I'm gonna leave those 2. Those are fine. These 2, however, is what I want to adjust. So we see that if we look at the SSH port, which is port 22, and then we look at the RDP port, which is port 3389, and we can see these ports over here. That basically these are wide open. We look at 000. That means that anybody can basically access my machine through these ports, and that means they are highly vulnerable. All right. So I don't want anybody making a secure connection to my machine. I don't want anybody from the outside being able to access my desktop. All right. So first thing, let's adjust this SSH rule. This thing's going to continue to still pop up. Go away. There we go. All right. So, so with the firewall rules, I'm gonna click edit to modify it. All right, so the main thing that I want to change here is right here within the source IPv4 4 ranges. That's where it specifies that basically anybody can access my machine through port 22, which is SSH. So I want to change that, and just like I did in my previous videos on the other platforms, I'm just going to just make my IP the only IP address that's allowed to access this. This virtual machine. All right, so I'm gonna put my IP address in there, and I'm gonna copy that because there's one more rule that I need to adjust. All right, and we can see that the protocols that specifies, of course, is port 22, which is SSH. All right, and then I'm gonna save that. And so now the way I've configured that is to basically only allow my IP address to be able to access this virtual instance through port 22. All right, and then I'm also going to adjust as soon as it loads up here. Oh, well, I gotta go back a page. Sorry. The next thing I'm going to adjust is the RDP related rule too, because again, I don't want anybody they can basically access in my desktop through this protocol, which RDP does. It's a protocol that's native to Microsoft platforms. Okay, so again, I'm going to get rid of this range right here, this 000 range. I'm going to paste in my IP address to only allow my IP address to be able to conduct a RDP session with this virtual instance. So let's save that. All right, and looks like we are all done here. All right, so that brings me to the end of my video. So basically, just to give a high level overview of what I've done here, basically it's just shown how we could go through, make sure that first our API needed to create a virtual machine here on the Google Cloud platform is enabled. Once we do that, what options to choose in order to start provisioning that virtual machine and setting up the features such as the name, what region we want it to run in, the type of machine, and then the type of the specifications we want associated with that machine, and then also choosing the operating system and the storage, in which in this instance I chose a Debian based Linux operating system. All right, and then just a minimal amount of storage, and then also had it with just one CPU core and 1 gig of um, of memory. All right, nothing too fancy, nothing too powerful, just something for day-to-day use. As far as, let's say I wanted to do some web browsing or whatever have you. Okay, and then from there, went looked at my firewall rules and made some adjustments there, since we seen that port SSH was sitting wide open. So was RDP, which we do not want open. Well, we don't want anybody from the outside, all people, anybody from the outside be able to access this virtual instance from those ports. So went in and changed the rules to only allow the IP address of my physical machine to be able to access that virtual instance. And so now that should be secure from that port of entry. But again, there's more things you could do to secure virtual instance. But again, just wanted to show just something very foundational, how we could begin to protect those virtual instances by first securing the ports. So please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.